I pushed open the door, the weight of the ornate box in my hand feeling more like a burden than a present. It was supposed to be a celebration, a gift for my wife at her company's lavish annual gala. The room was filled with laughter, the clink of champagne glasses, the kind of noise that always felt just a little too bright to me. I stepped into the crowd, scanning the faces. Familiar, but distant. The room smelled of expensive cologne and expensive lies. The CEO, Richard Hale, stood at the center, his sharp suit contrasting with his relaxed, predatory grin. I noticed his eyes before anything else, sharp, calculating, familiar, too familiar. My wife, Elena, was there too. Her back was turned, her golden hair cascading down her shoulders like some kind of perfect halo. She laughed, a high, bright sound, throwing her head back in that way that only people who think they're untouchable can. She looked stunning. She always did. I hadn't even seen the ring before she turned, a gasp falling from her lips, followed by the soft thud of her heels hitting the marble floor. I should have known. But the truth hit me in a flash anyway. There he was, Richard Hale, down on one knee in front of her, a small velvet box in his hand. "Will you leave your poor, impotent husband and marry me?" he asked, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. The room was silent for a second. The stillness felt like a weight pressing down on my chest. Then everyone laughed. It wasn't just a polite chuckle, it was a full-on, mocking laugh, like they were all in on a joke I didn't know I was a part of. I felt the cold stir of humiliation crawl up my spine. The laughter continued. I saw Elena's face, her lips parting, a faint blush creeping up her cheeks, but more than that, the thrill in her eyes. She was enjoying this, every second of it. Her voice floated through the air, cutting through the laughter. Yes, yes. The word landed like a punch. It shouldn't have hurt. I'd known something was wrong for months, maybe even years. But hearing her say it, it shattered something in me. And just like that, I turned and walked out. The days that followed were suffocating. Calls went unanswered, emails left unopened. The world outside was a blur. The taste of betrayal lingered in my mouth like stale wine. But there was no rage, not yet. Just the cold realization of what had happened, of what she'd done. I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I slipped into the shadows, the way I always did when something didn't feel right. I'd learned to observe, to listen, to wait. And I knew Elena's every move. Phone records were easy enough to pull. Messages, too. She hadn't been careful. She never was. She trusted me too much, trusted that I was too blind, too passive to ever dig deeper. I knew who Richard was. I had known from the moment I'd seen his eyes, the kind of man who thinks he owns everything, including my wife. A week later, I got the results, the DNA test. It wasn't a surprise, but it didn't make it any easier. She hadn't just betrayed me emotionally, she'd made sure I wasn't even the father. I could feel my heart slow down, the world narrowing around me like a black hole pulling in all light. I held the report in my hand, the words on it sharp and unyielding. Negative. It was time. Elena was waiting for me at home. The look on her face when I walked in was almost comical. Nervous, excited, guilty all at once. She couldn't even meet my eyes. "I don't know what you think you saw," she started, her voice shaky, but I cut her off. I didn't raise my voice, didn't show the anger I felt bubbling beneath the surface. Instead, I handed her the report. Her eyes flicked over it, one glance, just one, before they widened in realization. She took a step back. Her voice faltered, panic creeping in. I waited. I didn't need to say anything, not yet. She'd already known the truth. She'd known the moment I walked into that room, the moment Richard Hale had asked her to leave me. I'm sorry," she whispered, but it didn't matter. Her apology was as hollow as the laugh I'd heard in that room. The phone buzzed as I sat back in my chair, the first of many calls from the people who thought I was just going to take it, to stay the same, to let this go. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I made a series of quiet, calculated moves. I canceled every trip, every event we had planned. I pulled out my 90% share in the company, $357 million. The accounts emptied. The investments vanished. I left a message for Richard. "Enjoy the toys. They're all yours now." Minutes later, the calls began. Hundreds of them. 156 to be exact. The screen on my phone blinked with each new call, each one a desperate plea, a panic that had no place in the world I had just left behind. I sat there in silence. The doorbell rang. I didn't have to open it to know who was standing on the other side. It was Richard. I smiled faintly as I turned off the phone, the screen black, the world outside suddenly irrelevant. The door remained closed.